What is up, guys? Clay Enjoyer here, and it's time to enjoy. And in this video, I'm making a humanoid tomahawk because why not? Why not just make the mental lunacy just go off the deep end? Because at this point, if any normal person saw this channel, they would think I got a few screws loose, and honestly, I don't blame them. But of course, all sculptures, especially this one, need clay to bulk out the wires because this armature is thinner wire because it's going to be skinny. But what I can do to cover that up and make it look better, besides just covering it in clay, is smoothing it out before then adding muscles over top. Because what I was thinking for this axe is axes have strong wooden handles normally, and I was thinking instead of having like a thick giant handle, aka a body, having a thin but muscular body, which of course I have to get the shoulders in place for some reason first, and the feet, which I decided to make a little smaller than normal before I can start beefing up the legs instead of like the arms or something, which is a little bit out of order, but that's okay. But of course, I don't want my sculpture to look like he's wearing baggy parachute pants. So I need to carve out some muscles to make it look, well, less like pants and more like muscle, obviously, because I'm not going for pants. Duh. Before then giving him some knees so it looks like Mr. Axeman can actually walk around or run occasionally, maybe, followed by some calves as well, because I thought the back of his legs were looking a little bit too flat, and I wanted to make them, well, a little less flat, so it looks a little more interesting from the back side instead of just the front, followed by making the chest to make, well, the front more interesting, and because it's the centerpiece of said sculpture, because the chest is like 30% of the body, but then again, the legs are the other 30%, and the head and the arms are the other 30%, so I don't really know what comparison I was really trying to convey, but I can get the abs and the obliques blended and smooth to make them look extra defined before then going on to making the back muscles look at least somewhat correct. I always hate doing back muscles, I can never really figure them out, but I think this was the first time I got at least closer to what they're supposed to look like, and I'm pretty proud of myself. Followed by the lats, because obviously I want to fit all the muscles in. I'm basically going for a lean stick, essentially, because it's a tomahawk, so the stick is the handle, essentially. Followed by making the shoulders even bulkier than before, and doing the same thing for the arms and the forearms, because consistency is key, and I don't want this guy looking funky like the synthol bodybuilders, which are not even really bodybuilders, they're fakers. But this guy, he actually does exercise. But I also needed some way of making this video a little bit longer, and giving this sculpture muscles was a fantastic way of doing so, as well as giving the guy a pointing forward pose, because why not? Maybe he's kind of like the Lorax, where he's like, you cut down a tree, you will pay. Like, I mean, I don't know, but I'll figure it out later. Now, I can finally start making the grand piece of this sculpture, which is obviously the tomahawk axe head, but I'm just gonna call it axe head for simplicity, and because this is my YouTube video, so I don't know, why not? But it is pretty simple, because it's practically already done, just a little bit of smoothing here and there to get the edges nice and good enough, before then texturing it with very, very, very light taps with this metal tool to get little lines that looked like they're barely visible, which is what I was going for, before then sticking the axe head on prematurely and then getting on to texturing the rest of the body, because I don't know what I was thinking, but the texturing process is pretty simple, because it is just about 10 billion lines, but they're primarily either down, horizontal, or down again. Like, it's not that difficult. But I need to do it on all the sides just to prove to you guys that I'm not skipping one part or another and I'm doing the whole thing. Followed by the little axe connection point on the top because I wanted it to be accurate, before then putting it in the oven, baking it and then sanding the axe head down to make it look quote-unquote sharp, or it at least looks better than before in my opinion, and I hope you guys agree because this thing looks like it could cut someone. Definitely not, but like, just for the video, believe it. And I know for you guys, this must be pretty crazy, but only 5 minutes and 23 seconds into the video, we're already painting the sculpture, and can you guess it? Brown, obviously. Like, what else would you really have expected? Followed by more brown, but this brown's a tiny bit lighter, and only placed on certain parts instead of the entire sculpture. I know, it's just so cool and just high quality content, because I don't know. But I did think this brown was a little bit off because it was a little too dark and more like chocolate brown instead of like wood handle brown. So I took this wash of like graham cracker brown and brushed it all over the model to give it this color, which I think looks a little bit closer. And because it was a wash, you can still see the darker color underneath. But I did have to go and touch it up a little bit off camera, followed by painting the axe head in an obvious gunmetal gray, before then painting it in slightly lighter silvers to give it a little bit more detail on the axe blade, like it's been used and resharpened over and over and over again. Followed by making the base, which is actually this pink foam instead, which is technically a more appropriate foam for building, which I luckily found just going through all my stuff. Followed by making it into a chocolate dessert because of all the different layers of brown that is slowly turning to orange that I'm dotting all around, just trying to give it a little texture, even though it'll be invisible once all the grass is on top, because I need a layer of glue first so the grass actually sticks, which inevitably hides all the brown paint that I put down anyway. I don't even know why I still continue to paint the base as brown or not, but I don't know, I feel like it would still be obvious enough if I just left the base pink, because the pink is way brighter than the brown. But that's okay, because I can cover it in grass anyway, which I can sprinkle only a tiny bit right now, but of course off camera I'll give it a little bit more time, before then painting the base black, and it's time for the reveal. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe for more humanoid shirtless creatures next. And if you want to support me just a little bit more, I have an open Patreon now. And if you went over to support it, that would mean the world to me if you did. Alright, thanks for watching. See you in the next video.